All right, everyone, we're going to open up the service today by singing. So everybody stand and sing with me. It's cold today. Thanks for coming out. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat had not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way with the tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughter. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. We need a song of joy and celebration today. At this time, we would invite everyone here to come forward to drop a stone in the water bowl to signify your personal intentions for today, and, if I may say, to commit to the values Dr. King has taught us. Michael. Thank you, everyone. And officially, we welcome you to the gathering at Northern Hills. I have just a couple of announcements. I'd like to say hello and welcome to those who are on Zoom today. We see who's here. I see Alan Garrison. That guy's here every Sunday, and I'm not sure who he is.
I don't know who he is.
Hi, Alan.
Running on the list here. Anita, Alan, Koa, Linda, Marty, Mel, Norina General, Ruth, Sally, Suzanne, and we believe user is Dottie.
User? Okay. Dottie, we're going to name that Dottie.
Everyone
Welcome,
wanted
Dottie.
to see, but no one wanted to leave home,
Yes.
which I understand.
Right. So, welcome, everyone. We are glad you are here. If there are any visitors today, we'd love to get to know you. If you're willing, please stand or raise your hand and share who you are. Good morning. Well, welcome. I'm glad you decided to check us out. And Clifton UMC is a well-known, very progressive, good place. So
I like them a lot. Yeah.
I'm glad you've taken the Sunday off, at least this week. So, and we will have time to talk more if you want to afterwards in our Quimby room when we have refreshments and more conversations. My name is Sue Klein. I think everybody here knows me, just about. And I've been with GNH for about 10 years. We're a Unitarian Universalist community. In this liberal spiritual tradition, we are not bound by creed, nor do we conform to an enforced common identity. We do embrace each other and our world in its plurality of expression. Honoring the interconnectedness of all living things and their shared dependence on the abundance of our world, we practice gratitude and generosity. We seek justice and equity for all, working for systems that realize those qualities. We support one another as we face the challenges of transformation that our world presents. Being together in community and believing freely, each in our own way, we share this journey of becoming and uphold the wisdom that we must always be loving, for it is love at the center of our principles that sustains our heed to their call. I do have just a couple of announcements. So we have, we have the Alfman family to thank for the beautiful flowers here today. A celebration of life for Mary Lou yesterday. We certainly do, and my apologies. Thank you, Anne. The flowers are, as we know, Mary Lou loved them, you love them, and thank you for sharing them with us. They are beautiful. Cyclamen is my absolute favorite. Okay, just a couple of other announcements. Next Sunday, our member and usher, Andrew Ketterer, will share with us his spiritual journey. Lunch will be served at Lighthouse Shelter for Youth tomorrow at noon. If this date has snuck up on you, please contact Cheryl Lexon to see if anything is still needed. Cheryl's not here today. She's probably home cooking. Okay, we light the chalice as our intention to quiet ourselves and bring light into the world. I've asked Vicki Villavicencio, thank you, to light our chalice today.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and glory. Rise up, O
our opening words today are from W.E.B. Du Bois. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes the harvest and the playtime. And so I would ask us to stand as you are willing and able again to sing this wonderful hymn, which I have heard was one of Martin Luther King's very favorites.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. When my way grows weary, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand, lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. When the darkness appears and the night draws near, and the day is past and gone, and the river I stand, guide my feet, hold my hand, take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home.
Thank you. Please remain standing and recite with me our unison affirmation. We pledge to create a welcoming community that celebrates human diversity, encourages spiritual growth, fosters responsiveness to our world, and commits to the future of all children. I'm really pleased today to turn over this pulpit to Adrienne Campbell, who's been our office administrator for our congregation for about 10 years, and we're very fortunate for this. Adrienne will share her thoughts about the color of segregation. If afterwards, as it is our custom, we have a time for congregational talkback, and Adrienne says, what does she say? She says,
Don't ask
if
me
you-
any questions.
if you have a comment or a thought related to her message, those are wonderful. No questions.
Thank you, Sue. I said I didn't want y'all to ask me no questions because y'all don't want to really hear my answers. You really don't. Ain't that right, Michael? Thank you. I'm going to talk about, I won't get on the color until later, but I just want to talk a little bit about segregation. And it's something that's really, really close to me. I faced it since I moved to Cincinnati. I'm from Elkhart, Indiana, and a little small town. We didn't have a lot of segregation. I'm sure it was there, but we didn't have to go through it. But I'll explain that. But I wanted to know, first of all, what is just the definition of segregation? And it's just the action of setting someone or something apart from others. So if you don't want to talk to somebody or you don't want them living next door to you, you better move, because most of us ain't gonna move. So, but I felt like segregation was just totally one word: disrespect. We have to learn to respect everybody. I don't care what they're dressed like. I don't care how they talk. And I'm in that too. I'm not just reaching out to people of other colors than mine. But we all have to sometimes, just realize that we need to respect everyone. We don't have to agree, but we definitely need to respect. I've been places that I've heard black people just totally disrespected. I heard a white guy just go off on this older black man, but I think he did it because there was no one there to stop him. And he was by himself, so he could just do that. And, but I heard him and I didn't say a word, and I felt really bad because I should have spoke up. I should have just asked him, could he, just to be quiet. And that is so true with so many of us that have seen someone disrespect. And that is a form of segregation when you say, you don't look like me, you don't dress like me, you don't talk like me. It is a form of segregation, and we all have had times when we look that way. My mama used to tell me, because I have a flip mouth. Y'all haven't been around me every day, all day. And she used to tell me if I would take that thought through a thinking process, it would never make my mouth. And she told me that over and over. And I got a younger son, Jason. He just like me. He and I just scream at each other sometimes. And I said, I'm your mother. I know that, but the screaming never stops. And I told him one time, I said, just think about what you're saying, and maybe it won't come out your mouth. And my mom used to tell me this all the time. But I look at 21st century, segregation is hidden. We have gotten so good that it's hidden. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's just called hidden racism. Probably in the late 80s, there was a radio station out of Chicago called Tom Joyner. I would listen to it on my way to work. And he had a segment that was for hidden racism. And it was just amazing, things that you would never even thought someone was segregating or disrespecting you. And it's so hidden, and that's kind of where we are today. We can hide it pretty good. And I'm not just saying that it's just white. I got people I can't stand, and they know I can't stand them. But I try to be nice most times. But I just, let me just tell you where I came from. My father, was born 1898 in Mississippi. My mama was 1914 in Arkansas. My parents never, ever spoke to us about slavery. Now, my father in 1898 in Mississippi, he had to have some slavery. But but they had 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. And they were all in the South, and then they moved to Elkhart. A lot of the blacks moved north because there were factory jobs. And he got on at Whitehall Laboratories, which is the makers of Anacin. And my mom got pregnant after 10 years. I had people say, did your mama divorce? I said, wait a minute, y'all talking about long ago, way back. People didn't divorce. You just went through. I said, no, my parents did not divorce. My mom, to this day, she had told me, I don't know why I didn't get pregnant. But 3 more of us came. I'm number 6. And I don't know if they told the older kids who was born in the South. I don't know if I had no background. My father worked at the factory. My mama cleaned white people's houses. They wouldn't let her mop the floor. She had to get on her knees and clean the floor. She ended up having knee replacement. Yeah, I didn't like it when I got older, but it was nothing I could do. My mother had a 5th grade education. I was really blessed that my parents did not have a Southern drawl. My parents could read. I don't know who taught them to read, but in 1898, somebody had to just get in the backwoods, in the trees somewhere, and teach my daddy how to read, because there was no schools. My mother did tell me, I was an adult, that she used to have to go to the cotton fields and pick cotton. And she had to take the kids. There was no daycare. There was no babysitters. You took your children, and if they were tall enough that they could reach and pick some cotton, they were picking cotton. My oldest brother had sickle cell anemia. They used to call him the sickly baby, because y'all know didn't nobody know about sickle cell, especially in the South. He was born in 1933. But my mother, she said she would have to stop working. And I said, did you get in trouble? She said others covered for her, because she would have to stop working, picking the cotton, to take care of my brother, because I have the sickle cell trait. Anytime I have surgery, the head anesthesiologist has to come and talk to me, and they have to assign a tech to my surgery room because of my breathing. It has nothing to play with. But if I get teary, it's because I have a problem talking about my family, because it's only 2 of us left out of all of us. It's just my sister that's right above me and myself. Everybody else is deceased. But when my sister sent me an email. I don't remember, he spoke here once. I don't remember the gentleman's name. He worked for Cincinnati Police Department, and he did emailing. And she was on his email list. She said, look at this. This might be something you might be interested. I had retired in February of 2017. And I was bored after almost a year. I was never one to want to clean house. I always had someone to clean. And I think a lot of that because my mama had cleaned houses for so many years. I went, somebody was gonna come clean my house. But when I thought about it, I updated my resume, I sent it to Doug. I got a call right away from Doug. Made an appointment, came in, talked to him and Ann Bobinet. They interviewed me. So they wanted to offer me the job right then. I said no. I said, I gotta go home and think about this. Because let me just tell you, I was the first black at a company in Elkhart named Miller Steel. I was hired as an accounting clerk. And I was shown where we would work and, you know, all the things you do when you hire somebody. And they, when I came in to report that day, big window, they said, this is your desk. I said, this is not the accounting department, but this is your desk. We want you to sit here. They put me up in the window so when people come by, they saw the black girl. They didn't call it black, the colored girl. They saw the colored girl sitting there. I had to get up and go to the back to get my work. If I needed some help, I had to get up, walk down the hall, but I couldn't sit with them because I needed to be their token. So I thought GNH was gonna make me a token. And see, I wasn't about that at that time. I'd rather not work. I told them, I said, I'll be downtown under the bridge in one of them tents. If I can run out of money, that's where y'all come find me. I'm gonna see if I can't find a purple tent. My favorite color is purple. I said, I'll be in a purple tent down there under the bridge with the rest of the homeless. And I don't mean that in a way that I'm being disrespectful, but I just told them, I said, I will do without before I ever be disrespected again. So I decided, my sister taught me, I came. First person when I walked in was Sue. This is my sister, y'all. I'll let y'all know that's my sister. Remember that time I called you at the show? I was having a problem. I'm gonna call Sue. I don't care where you're at. Well, I didn't know you was at the show. I wouldn't have called. but she told me she was at the show. But she did a wonderful job of training me. I told Doug one day, I said, I have never felt color. And what was the doctor's name? John, he passed. Anyway, he came in one day and I just said, how are you, sir? No, don't call me sir, I'm a doctor. I said, okay, doctor. We got to be so different. He would come in and sit at the other desk just to talk. I had to stop working, turn my chair around and talk to him, but I loved him. His name tag is still in my drawer. I can't throw it away. I feel like I'm throwing him away if I throw that away. And it's just been a pleasure working with everybody. Miss Dottie, Miss Tabor will have her daughter bring her to come see me every so often, just to get a hug. And it's just been a blessing being here working, even though sometimes I might make a mistake on something, but I'm old, okay? I'm old. I just had my 76th birthday, so I'm old. But I am so blessed. I have friends here. Everybody that comes in is welcome to sit and chat with me. And I've met your children, your grandchildren, some of them. And it's just like I'm one of the family now. When I asked about talking, I really didn't think I was going to. I just think I was just hot air. And anybody else would have called me, I would have said no. They got my sister to call me, and they know I can't say no to Sue. I will never, ever say no. And I had planned today for my granddaughter, but they wouldn't let her off work, to do her praise dance, but we're going to do another service when she's off. And this is what we do at my church on Youth Day. They do praise dances to black gospel music. And she was so mad. When she begged her supervisor, but it's playoff time for football. Basketball is in full gear, and the restaurant gets full on Sundays, and they need all of their waitresses. But anyway, I have loved being here. I would not take it. I won't. I'll be here for a little while longer until I can't remember. When I can't remember, I'm staying home, and I will let the board, whichever board we have at that time, I will let them know. I will give them a couple days, a couple weeks' notice, but at this time. But right now, coming Monday, of course, is Dr. King's celebrated day. I've gone to the breakfast before. I never was able to take, that's a long walk and it's cold. I was never able to take the walk, but if you ever get an opportunity, the breakfast is just beautiful down at the Underground Railroad Freedom Center. I would go. Now, like I said, I can't do the walk, but, I was reading on Google where, this year for 2026, they have buses, especially for older people, that they can get them down to Music Hall. But I would probably want to try walking, but I know that I would not be able to make it. But Dr. King's days was so different from what we have today. I don't think we could stand what he stood. They didn't have the experience that we have. They couldn't sit and talk to a congregation that didn't look like them. People were murdered. The one part that hurt me the most is when they turned the hoses on people. It hurt my heart. I sit there and I cried because that could have been a relative of mine. The hanging of black men. So he really, I can't really put him with us today. His suffering was far more than we could even imagine. And I don't, with what I know today, I couldn't go to a fountain that said, white only. Anybody that know me, I'm just going to jail because I'm going to take a drink. I will. I know me. And, but I'm so thankful to the Lord that didn't have to come up in that time. But it hurts so much when I think that my mom and dad did. But you know, they made it, and they were blessed to get out of that. And Elkhart is a cool place, huh? It's a cool, where John at? That was you, John, wasn't it? I'm trying to think, who, because John's from South Bend, or that area. And we were talking about all the little cities that are between Elkhart and South Bend. And most people, if I just say Notre Dame, they know it was only 15 miles from Notre Dame. But when Notre Dame played, all Elkhart hotels were filled. But I can remember my mom worked for a restaurant, and we had to enter the back door. Black people had to go through the back door if you wanted some food. Oh, they would sell you, they would get you money, but they, you couldn't go through the front door. But I also was looking, I read a lot. Sundays, I read that is the most segregated day of the week. Everybody go to their little group. I'm not gonna call it churches. My church, it's just us, you know. I thought, well, Methodist churches, you either go to a black one or a white one. I'm Pentecostal. I've never been to a white Pentecostal church. I know there are some. We are a very lively, active, don't shut up church. Don't get out, you go at 11, you don't get out to about 1:30. And, but when my mom told me this about the segregate, I told her, I said, oh no, it's not segregated. But as I got older and I began to look, we have got to start mixing our churches more. We have to have something that will interest another culture to come and just visit, if nothing else. You come to my church, you might like it. Like Michael said, they got a band. I said, yeah, they got the guitar, they got the drums, they got the organ and the piano going. And when you were singing Precious Lord, we don't sing it that fast. I couldn't hardly keep up with you because we don't sing it that fast. Most times it's a solo almost, you know. Mike over there. I would love for you to be guest pianist. I'm going to have to talk to Pam one Sunday at our church. Pam was our minister of music, and my Mary Kate lady, too. But when we look at the colors of segregation, I ain't going to be but a couple more minutes. We know that the color of racism is our most popular color. That's the one that we hear the most about. That's the one that creates more issues. But there are also, my biggest thing is the color of housing. They want to put you somewhere that you will be comfortable. My girlfriend and her husband, when I moved here, we only had 30 days. My husband worked for Ames Division of Miles Laboratories. We got 30 days to move here. He ended up living with my sister, and I had to hurry up because she wasn't used to him. So we trying to find a house to rent so we could spend time, a year, looking for a place to buy. And when we started, the first word is, we want you to be comfortable. I said, don't worry about me being comfortable. I said, I'm going to be comfortable wherever I select. And a lady at the church I go to, they wanted to live in Roselawn. They kept bringing her to Forest Park. They kept bringing her to other, and she said, I want Roselawn. Is there no houses in Roselawn? And so she ended up, her and her husband, and they've been there for years in Roselawn. But I feel that the housing is one of the biggest colors of segregation, because now when you go, and they've kind of taught that they only go when they do take them to this area if they black, take them to this area if they white. I don't know where they take the Hispanics. I'm not sure where they take them, Michael.
My neighborhood
Shut up. Your neighborhood, they over there? Okay. I didn't know where they took them, but I do know that my son just bought, well, they've been there about 5 years in Westchester. He went and, when they gave him the address, he wouldn't even make an appointment. He went and looked at the neighborhood. He said, I want a mixed neighborhood. I have children, I have grandchildren. I don't want them growing up and thinking the only people that they know is black. He said, and now you go to his house, you don't know who is who. And Kendrick is autistic. That's my grandson. That's my heart. He rides a scooter. They saw him turn the corner one day. The lady ran, she's a white lady, ran out of our house, ran all the way down to Jason's house. Kendrick just turned the corner. You think he's going to get lost? He said, no, he's probably going over to Miss Bobby's house, a friend of theirs that live around the corner. She's black. But they look out for all the kids. They know the kids. They stay all night with each other. And this is what Jason wanted, but he had to fight. He had to turn down houses because they wanted him to stay in a predominantly African-American neighborhood. And he says, I want a mixed neighborhood. He said, be worried more if I can afford it. Don't be worrying if I like it. You better make sure I can afford it. But also, this is one, what I just talked about, the color of religion. Religion has color. Look at us. And you go to my church, and I'm going to say, look at my church. They all brown. And there's the color of disability. I've seen people with disabilities be disrespected. And I was the vice president of the company I work for. And it's a construction painting company. We did Paul Brown Stadium, we did all the Proctor stuff. But it was owned by a black man and a black woman. Well, after Robert died of cancer, his wife, she moved to Florida. And I ran the company. I had to fight to get paid what the white boy was getting paid down the hall. He was just a field superintendent. And she was black. She did not want, but I'm running the company. I'm the one that's paying all the bills. I'm the one that's over payroll. I'm over everything. The only thing I wasn't over the guys in the field painting. I didn't have anything, no more than to pay them. And I was really shocked that a black person would feel this way about another black person, but it happens. It happens. Sometimes it's not about color. Sometimes it's about who they are. There's also what a lot of us might be experiencing right now. I have experienced color of age. You get old, nobody wants you. Nobody, oh, you can't do this job. Try me. Because if Doug had told me I couldn't do this job, I'd have left. I'd have cried when I got to the car. But it would have hurt my heart because when he told me everything that I had to do, I told him I didn't know how. I said, I always had a secretary. I don't know how to do that stuff. But he said the right words. He said, we'll train you. And I said, bingo, I will do it. And I'm so glad I'm here, you guys. Y'all are my family. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all are just, I have had some of the best days of my life here. I like when those come in and just talk to me sometime. Me and Bessie was going crazy Friday in here working on trying to get them programs together for the memorial service, for Miss Hoffman's memorial service. But that's friendship, and I have never had as many wonderful friends as I've had since I've been here. It's just been super cool. There's also the color of education. I know people that they tried to talk them out of taking a pre-med in college. I know that some of them, they're in pre-law. I have a niece that's a lawyer, and she has her own law firm. Her daughter graduated from Spelman. She went to Howard and got her law degree. She works for the White House now as an attorney. But they had struggles because they were brown. They were the wrong color. And sometimes it hits so close to home, y'all, and My oldest son was driving home. As a senior, they got a raggedy car, a car that we could just pay cash for. So he driving home, it had dents in it. They called it the boat because it was so big. He got pulled over by the police. The police said, "Did you have an accident and leave the scene of an accident?" He said, "No, sir." They put him in the back of their car and drove him up and down Hamilton. We lived in Coleraine off of Springdale. They drove him up and down. They were looking for a car that had dents in it. And we didn't know. Now, his parents are home. This is like 9 o'clock at night, so he wasn't out to 12 or 1 o'clock. When he got home, he was shaking. He said, "Mom, what would they have done if they'd have seen a car just with a dent and took me to jail?" But this is what, as a black people, we have to put up with. My son is a district manager for sleep number 8 beds. He has Orlando and Jacksonville. They just gave him New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama. I told him, I said, "Baby, you driving in Alabama, don't be speeding. I said, they don't like you." I said, when I can see where he's at all times. He put this on, so I know when he's driving somewhere. I pray. I'm scared to death that somebody is going to pull him over just because. And I told him, I said, "Drive the speed limit." Well, he loved New Orleans. I told him there ain't nobody in New Orleans, too many of us in New Orleans. But when you get to them outskirts, when you get on them little back roads, but the people that can afford, Jamar Chase's, his group delivered a bed to his dad's house, because they're right outside of New Orleans. And most people that can afford a sleep number 8 bed, they ain't working at McDonald's. They're not working at McDonald's. So you go into nicer neighborhoods, and Orlando has a big market for it, and he spends a lot of time there. But I am just so, probably the most is that I get so dissatisfied because I'm just so sorry that we can't be treated like we're a person, that sometimes we have to prove ourselves. We have to go through and say, "I can do this," or "I don't do that." And it hurts my heart because I don't want to prove anything. I want you to like me because you like me. And everybody know I'm a hugger. I hug everybody. But that's how I was brought up like that. I was brought up that there was no black and there was no white. Even though I just realized, I was talking in Elkhart wasn't much of a segregation. Elementary schools were local, so they were mostly whatever thing. But when you got to junior high, you were mixed. And by high school, I only had one high school. You were mixed. Everything was fine. But when you leave school, your white kids went home and the black kids went home. All of a sudden, you were segregated. And when I thought about the street we lived on, we had a real nice street, nice home. Wasn't a white person on that street. I just realized this. All these years, I had never stopped to think there wasn't a white person on that street, and Indiana Avenue is a long street. You come in that way from South Bend off of 20, and you come under that viaduct and hit Indiana. I'm telling you, it hurt me. I almost started crying. I was sitting there on a couch, and I was working, and I did a lot of reading. But it just hurt my heart so much that I was segregated. But it was the housing. Again, there we go with that housing. But it was really, back in those days, is what people could afford. I remember my mama's house note was $65 a month. They ain't that no more. But I appreciate you all giving me this time. And I'm very confident hidden racism will never leave. I think it will be with us for the remainder of our days. But if you notice on the program, there was 2 question marks in parentheses. I want to ask everyone, when you have some time by yourself, this is not, you don't go home, be discussing it with your wife, your husband. But just sometime when you got a moment, just think, am I racist? have I been racist? Have I done something that I could have done a little different? Could I have respected somebody a little more? Adrienne has really, really learned that I got to stop, because there's some things, and I told y'all when I don't like something, I got some people I just can't stand, and I'm not exaggerating. I don't like them, but they my color. But I just wanted everybody just to go home and just think about it from time to time. Don't go home and say, "Oh, I can't do this. I got to think if I'm racist." No, don't go home and do that. But just think about it from time to time, and it's going to take us to make this a better world for everybody. It's going to take everyone that can think about, did I do something wrong? Could I have respected somebody a little bit more? And see, I was taught with older people. See, y'all don't believe in getting whoopings. I got whoopings when I grew up, okay? You act a fool, you getting a whooping. And then you had to go get your own switch. So you out there trying to find a switch, you done beat your legs to death because you done hit your legs a few times to see if it hurt. Well, this hurts. I just really feel like we should try, even if we just put ourselves out a little bit, to do something. I know there's some things that I need to do. I'm off Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I need to volunteer at some of the places that help people that are not, I'm not that well off, but that are lower than I am. Sometimes, I know every time I live in an apartment complex, and sometimes when they have food drives, and I went over, and I was the first one there with food. I said, "That's, what, 300 units here? And I'm the first one in here with food?" I said, "I know they got food up in their cabinets that they haven't looked at, but that's, what we say, and I said, that ain't my problem. Here's my food, But I appreciate everybody sitting so patiently with me, and I thank you for this time.
You may have to stand up again.
Adrienne,
I did? Oh, good. Yeah, thank you. Yes, you did.
Adrienne, thanks so much. And I'll just say a quick comment here. I think on behalf of everyone here, but what you opened up with about respect, and I just think everyone here has so much respect for you. And even more so now that you got up and said all those things to us, we just really appreciate you.
I love you, Michael. You know
I love
you're
you
my
too.
baby. You could be one of my kids.
So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments?
Anyone else? No questions, just comments.
No questions. Thanks, Adrienne. I think it's just good for us to hear your experience, your personal experience. And the one thing that struck me the most, I don't know if I'd ever heard that before, was the real estate guy saying, "We want you to go where you'll be comfortable." Of course, what he was really saying was, "I want you to go where I'll be comfortable you being there."
I agree, they getting that money.
Yeah, that is absolutely true as someone who works in the real estate world. It's true.
Well, back when in 1977, we were house hunting in the Springfield Township area. And we picked out a house that we liked, and the realtor, after we expressed interest and put in a bid, she said, "I just want you to know that this is an integrated community," which was totally unnecessary for her to say, I thought, but we said, "Good, just what we want." But when I found out, we were in the Mount Healthy School District, which was very integrated, which we liked. Some of the black girls were more inclusive with my disabled daughter than some of the white girls. And I put that to, they know what it's like to be discriminated against. They understand. And I really think that was true, and I appreciated how they treated her.
Everyone that was talking about the real estate made me think about this. Sorry. I'm soft-spoken. Well, like actually there's real estate agents that would go to all white communities and then have black people act like they have a baby, and they would like go down the street and everything. The hope that people were like, oh, they're moving here, and then they would try to get people to sell their houses, which I think is abysmal.
We had that problem at UC. One of the things that you do when you ask somebody, at a university at least, is have them spend some time with the realtor, you know, and they would never show them the Clifton area or that. There's always the suburbs, you know, on purpose.
Thank you, Adrienne. The thing, it is a question, but you don't have to answer it. And I just want to put it out there that I would like to have some people of color in my life. I mean, really in my life, not just I wave, I say hello. I don't even know where to start to make that happen. And I know you look like that, but I don't have, in my life, I just don't see that many people. And I have a granddaughter who is a young lady of color. That's the person in my life. But I don't have neighbors. I don't have anybody in my church, you know, and it's like, do I just walk up to somebody on the street and say, hey, I want to be your friend? I mean, it's like, I don't know where those inroads are or how we do that. And that's sad.
Adrienne, thanks. Your talk made me remember something. For a number of years, I was president of Elements, a hip-hop organization over the Rhine, and I remember a rap artist that wrote a song about segregation. And the whole idea of the song was segregation makes you invisible, and white people need you to be invisible, and how that hurts. And when I was listening to you, it's like I was also hearing the flip side of that, when you got stuck in that window so you would be highly visible, that is just an incredible form of disrespect as well. And I think your question about, to every white person, you know, have you been racist? And if you answer no, you're lying to yourself.
Tim was raised in a farming community in Indiana, which was all white, and I was raised in Finneytown, which at the time was all white. But Finneytown didn't have a high school, and I went to Hughes. And I felt when I started at Hughes that the world wasn't what anybody had told me about. It was very different. There were people not only of different colors, there were people who had never left the city of Cincinnati, never gone to summer camp, never had done any of the things that I had done. So we made a concerted effort when our children started school. We're in the Cincinnati district, that we would send them to an alternative school where there would be mixed. Everybody would be mixed. And they went to an inner city school. It was academically strong, but it was an inner city school, half black, half white, some rich, some poor on both sides of the divide. And I will honestly say that our children are much less, if you start children when they're 5 or 6 years old, they don't notice the differences. I would like to say that I don't notice the difference, but I do, because from the time I was very young, everyone around me was white. But our children do not notice the differences. And I think I don't know what, I understand what Ann's saying, but I think at our age, it's much harder to get into a more integrated dynamic than it is when kids are young.
Adrienne, your comment on the different types of segregation, in particular the segregation of age, where I work, there's a handful of us who are younger, but both sort of my immediate boss and one of my other coworkers are 50 and late 60s, respectively. And I find it incredibly helpful and incredibly, I don't know if blessed is the right term, but to have those individuals who have been in my field of work for longer than I have, sometimes in some cases longer than I've been alive, they have the experience, they have the knowledge that I won't be able to get yet, and I can learn from them and see what they have. And I find that to be a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
I ran into a friend at Kroger yesterday, and she was buying a bottle of wine, and she told me how terrible she feels all the time, and that she feels like she needs to apologize to the entire world for what's going on in our country. And I commiserated with her, and I said, everyone feels like that. And it got me thinking about the term of weathering, about how black women have higher problems with pregnancy, and black folks have higher problems with other diseases like high blood pressure that are due to living in a repressive society. It's like a constant blanket of segregation that cannot be forgotten. And I was thinking about, well, this is what we're feeling now. We are feeling this weathering. I grow older every day because of what is happening every day in the past year. And it got me thinking that instead of going, oh, I'm weathering, this is terrible, I should use this and accept it as a gift of understanding and empathy and of strength. And to think, okay, if other people have faced this and continue to thrive, then our strength is in our ability to face this together and continue to strive and thrive.
How beautifully put. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and mostly, thank you, Adrienne.
You're welcome.
It's been time. It's been time. I didn't know I had that much power, though. So if any of you want her to do something, just talk to me. Okay, now is our time of offering. We know that this space and the work we do to create all that makes it home to us, as well as the work we do in the world at large to live our principles and create transformation, requires resources. We contribute as we are able to sustain that collective vision. If you are a visitor, your presence here is the gift that we cherish. Let the basket pass you by. Now is our time of offering.
One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and we will feel alright. Say it, let's get together and feel alright. Let them all pass with all their dirty remarks. There is one question I'd really love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless hurt all mankind just to save his own beliefs. I'm talking about that one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Give thanks and strength to the world, and we will feel alright. Saying let's get together and feel alright. One more thing. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Sing it with me. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love, one heart. Thanks and praise to the Lord, and we will feel alright. Saying let's get together and feel alright. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear that diesel humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and we will feel alright. Saying let's get together and feel alright. Saying let's get together and feel alright.
Let's get together and feel all right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Bob Marley. Back at the gathering, we had a wooden carving on the wall. It's on the table back there of Bob Marley, and we called him our patron saint at one point. So we thank you, and we thank you all for your contributions to keeping this congregation going. We appreciate it very much. We come to a time in our service of sharing joys and sorrows, and we know that, I don't know what we know. There. We know joys are heightened, sorrows are lightened when we are shared, when they are shared with friends and supporting community. Raise your hand if you have something you'd like to share, and a mic will be brought to you. I personally am happy to see Joel and Jeannie here.
We gotta have so people can hear them too.
As most of you know and have seen, our oldest daughter, Savannah, who used to come as a child and preteen, she now has a almost 7-year-old. So we have that granddaughter, and just about a week and a half ago, she gave birth to another daughter. So she's got now 2 kids, so we are very blessed for grandchildren.
Grandchildren are the best. Congratulations.
And being a grandparent's extra, guys. You can always send them home.
Well, my term for grandchildren is grander children, because my daughter is already my grandchild. I beg your pardon. A couple of comments, though. Reminder all that tomorrow is Dr. King's memorial service, celebratory at Music Hall. And I've been practicing with the choir for a presentation. We're going to be singing. But I got a text this morning from the son of my high school or my college roommate's husband. I just spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. He passed yesterday, or just recently. So I feel like I have to go to the service tomorrow. But also, I was sharing with Andrew earlier that a racial, I guess you could call it, mishap on my part. Back in the 8th grade, they're in Risington, Indiana, small town, maybe 3 African-American families in the whole community. Karen Thomas, we were in home ec class at a table, and we were doing something, we had to choose somebody or something. So dumb Nada spouts off this, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a nigger by his toe. Now, does anybody remember that? Oh, yeah. It's the 60s, I guess. Of course, as soon as I said it, I thought, damn, Nada. So I don't know how I reacted. Well, I guess I stopped. But the next day, I brought Karen some candy bars. I mean, I apologized. We're going to be having our 60th high school reunion in June. If she comes, I'm going to ask her if she remembers that. You never forget when you make a ass of yourself. Yeah.
Just a joy that last Tuesday night we had Dr. Amy Acton and David Pepper here, along with over 300 people. The sanctuary was filled, standing room only in the Quimby room, people in the hallway, and the sense of hope was palpable after listening to Dr. Acton. But I did want to assure the congregation that the Mill Creek Democracy Network, and I know the leaders well, is really committed to a bipartisan promotion of democracy. And, we've had Greg Landsman here, we've now had Amy here and David Pepper, but we've invited Warren Davidson, we invited Vivek Ramaswamy, and the invitation wasn't accepted. So just know that it's bipartisan, and know that there really is enthusiasm for working for democracy. And I want to personally thank Michael for willing to come and playing John Lennon's Imagine for the group. So thanks.
It was great. Thanks for having. It was super fun.
For those of you who weren't here yesterday for the memorial service, I think the biggest thing was that some of the children, they're now adults, showed up yesterday with their parents, and tears were shed. One of the things that those of you who didn't know Mary Lou as well as some of us, she sent birthday cards after they became, when they were younger and when they became older, and sometimes even letters, evidently. And our granddaughter, who hadn't seen Mary Lou for, 15 years maybe, and some of the other kids, it was very, very, very moving. And she loved them to death. So that gave me good news and made me feel like it's all worth it, et cetera. And I just want you to know, Adrienne, that my mother also used a switch on the calves, but hers was a little different. You had to go get your own switch.
That's what she.
Oh, you said that? Okay, so I missed that. So you brought back one like.
And you beat your legs.
Well, no, but you came back with one 12 inches or maybe 6 inches, and you had to go back and keep beating them until you got one that was nice and then whack, whack, whack. And she was tiny. She weighed 100 pounds maybe, soaking wet. It's a tough lady.
I almost forgot to ask if there's anyone on Zoom who wanted to share something. But Ginny, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have a joy and a sorrow. My joy is I was a realtor for 25 years, guys, and we're not all bad. The thing of it is, you have certain rules that you have to follow, and if you don't, you lose your license. But a lot of those people you were talking about doesn't seem to care about that. But anyway, I met one of my best friends. I sold her a house 30, 40 years ago. As a matter of fact, we've had like 5 deals. And Jackie was she's a black woman, very intelligent, had a PhD, a loner. She didn't have a lot of friends, but I felt like we were friends. And we didn't socialize, but she didn't socialize much. You know, she was stayed home. But it was funny, I was just thinking we'd talk about things. One summer it was extremely hot, and here I am sweating, my hair's dripping like crazy and just limp. And I said to Jackie, oh, my hair is so terrible. It's just limp. And she said, well, look at mine. And hers was all curly. And we would talk about our hair and our skin, and we could, you know, she was truly my friend. And she passed away this year, and it makes me very sad, but also joyful that I knew her. She was a light in my life.
Thank you, Jenny.
Anybody on Zoom?
Koa, can you share?
Hello. My mom texted me during the service, and I told her I was here, and she said, oh, I miss you guys so much. Tell everyone hi. And you mentioned the hair thing. She recently had some issues with ulcers. She's gotten better, but when they gave her iron supplements, it turned her hair curly, which she had wanted her whole life. So she was so delighted. That story made me think of that.
What a joy.
Quick joy, I left the house for a little while a couple of days ago, and when I got back home, Valerie and Tim had cleaned up and put away Christmas.
Wow.
The little things that count.
Sometimes all you have to do is just unplug them for a year. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your lives with us. You are among a group of people who care. We have some words from Dr. King to close our service, and after that, we will stand again as you're willing and able to sing We Would Be One. It's number 318 in your hymnal. But Dr. King said a whole lot of really important things.
We changed, don't you?
Well, I know he said a lot of important things because I went to Google and I said, quotes by Dr. Martin Luther King. But he said in an address in 1957, I have the audacity to believe that peoples everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits. We thank him. He showed us. So let us sing.
We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for zooming in from all the corners. We appreciate your presence. Our service is now concluded.
And thank you all for making me feel so welcome.
Please join us in the Quimby Room for conversation and refreshments. Down the hall and to your left.
Bye, Suzanne. Bye, everybody. I gotta go too. Bye, Ruth.